I always knew that I was going to be a painter, and it started from when I was like small. The first time I ever saw a painting, I was just absolutely enthralled. I couldn't believe it. I held it up close to my eyes, and I must have been like at least like probably about 3 or 4 years old, and completely amazed that all these separate little marks that someone had made, that my father had made, all these little marks grew and grew and grew and became an image. As I look back on it now, it seems to me that isn't that what life is? It's so many small little marks, so many small brush strokes, things that happen. It can be bright, brilliant, amazing color. It can be dark, gloomy, muddy colors. But together, as it grows, it creates a work of art. My name is Aaron Paquette. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta. My mom is of Norwegian descent, so good old Viking blood. And my father, he's actually half Cree and half Cherokee. My father was a painter and a photographer, and so he always had paints around, and he always had paintings that he had done. And so that sort of got me interested right away. And I started drawing everything I could on every surface I could. So when it turned out that walls were prohibited, I would empty my drawers and draw in the drawers, because I didn't want to just draw on paper that could be like thrown away or wouldn't last. I wanted something solid that I felt was permanent. At that age, I was probably about 7 years old. At about that age is when I lost contact with my father for the next almost 20 years. He and my mother divorced. Strangely enough, I think that it was his absence that drove me to really pursue this passion I had for creating. Maybe in some way I thought that the better I got, or the more I did it, it would be like my spirit calling to his to bring him back. But of course, that didn't happen. By the time I was about 18 or 19, I got really confused about life and just went down a lot of wrong paths. When I think back on that time, I was crazy. I wasn't having clear thoughts. Everything was always clouded, and it was like I was in a labyrinth. And not only did I not know the way out, I didn't even care if I found the way out, because I didn't think that there was a way out. I just thought that's the way life was, and it was never going to change. I would drink, I would do drugs, I would hurt people, I would, damage people's hearts, damage people's trust. It's almost like I decided to live up to every stereotype that there could be. But when I was 25, my sons were born, twin boys, and I decided like things had to change in my life and I needed to get some closure. That's when I started like physically saying like, okay, now I've got to clean up my act, I've got to get things together. And so that's what I started doing. Like, I stopped drinking, stopped, abusing drugs in my body, and, tried to be a little bit more stable. But I hadn't done anything inside to fix that. So it's like everything that caused all the behavior before was still there, but I was just fighting against it all the time just to have the outward appearance of being responsible and being okay. And I really wanted it because I wanted to be a good father, because I didn't want to leave the same kind of legacy for my kids that I had. I even stopped painting at that point because I was worried that painting was sort of giving life to some of these demons. So my sons were born, and I realized that something wasn't right in me. And so I tracked down my father and left notes at his house, and found his phone number and called, until finally he just called me up and agreed to come out and meet and to see the boys. And when he arrived, it was so strange, because all my life, just going throughout different small communities throughout Alberta, or just on the street, not knowing what happened to my father, what his life was like at that point, I would always look at at people who are walking by, and I'd be like, is that him? Could that be him? And never knowing. And when he showed up, he looked exactly the same. A little bit fatter, a little bit grayer, but exactly the same. And all the anger that I felt that he had abandoned us just kind of slipped away. And I just felt really, really good. And it had nothing to do with, like, you know, connecting with my father or something like that, because it was just more the idea that it wasn't a dream anymore. That he wasn't just a memory, he was a real person. And in a way, that kind of let me be a real person too. And it's at that point that I started painting in the style that I am now. Sort of like, after having viewed, you know, all the darker things and been depressed about them and worried about them, and like, oh, conditions on the reservations are terrible, it's the white man, and like I hate myself because I'm half white and I'm half Indian, and like you know, people think Indians are dirty or stupid or, you know, bums, and it's just really conflicted. But suddenly all of it dropped away, and I just found a brand new path that has healed me, and hopefully will help others get the idea that it's okay to be happy, and it's okay to love yourself. Yeah, no matter what school I went to, you know, whatever age group, it was definitely a part of my identity that I was a painter, that I saw the world visually, and if anyone wanted anything done, they would come to me. In fact, something I'm not so proud of, but that I did, is should I even say this? In high school, some kids asked me if I could paint them bus pass replicas, and they'd give me half the price of a bus pass. I even had the foil. I got the foil from cigarette wrappers. Yeah. I went to J. Percy Page Comstock High School, and the teacher there was Mike Dendy, and he was a graphic artist in his own right. He was teaching because he actually enjoyed teaching, and he was phenomenal. He taught me everything I need to know about color theory. He taught me about composition, because he was doing the visual communications course. He wanted to share really practical lessons, and so that's actually where I learned almost everything I know. After that, a friend of mine, his father was a Catholic monk who left the church and moved to Canada, but he brought with him the skills of a master stained glassman. And he also supplies all the churches around all across North America with their stained glass, and he needed an apprentice. So he saw my work and he asked me to come and work with him. So I got to do that for a few years, and I learned a lot there too. I learned a lot about the way that light works, the way it flows through things, and it was just beautiful. As luck would have it, in that same town was a master goldsmith. This was in Hill Spring, Alberta. A master goldsmith, and he sort of took me under his wing as well and taught me goldsmithing. So those three men had a really profound impact on the way that I look at material, the way I look at the world, from the very almost microscopic detail to broad swaths of light, and then the technique that could bring it all together. Yeah, so unconventional training, but training, I think. It wasn't long after that I met my father again that I did start painting, and I moved up from southern Alberta back to Edmonton, and I got together a few solid pieces that I thought, okay, this is what I'm actually trying to say. Finally, I've got it. This is what I want to say. You know, you look around and you see native culture and iconography sort of co-opted and and borrowed and used to sell gasoline and sports teams and what have you, right? And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to be able to take some of the finer things, like the finer expressions of spirituality from the West, and sort of use it in a way to bring a little bit of illumination and ideas to the indigenous cultures here. So, yeah. So in my paintings, Native women have auras of glory. Native men are strong icons of family and courage. That makes me excited, and sometimes I can't even stay in bed. I have to get up and start working. That's how excited I am. Like, it might be 3 a.m, but as soon as my brain clicks on to the ideas and to what it could mean, I'm out of bed. I have to start painting. Eventually, it came to me that it was actually a deep responsibility to decide what I was going to create. And I remember talking to my mom about that. She said, "You know what? I think it's about time you realize that you're not painting for you. You're painting for someone out there who you'll probably never meet, but you're painting for that person. So if something is just sitting on a wall and you're wondering why no one likes it, it's because it's meant for a particular specific person. And one day, it may not even be in your lifetime, but one day they'll see it. And it will give them, at that moment, what they need." And if that's true, I can't ask for a greater gift. It takes an enormous amount of faith and determination. You have to believe every single day when you wake up that you're going to be able to do it. When it becomes art is when you use that as your springboard to find something new that someone hasn't done yet. And they say nothing new is under the sun, but then again, there's not ever been anyone just like you, and there never will be. So while you may not be doing something new, you'll be speaking with a voice that will never be heard again. And that's where the difference is. So don't be afraid to try to explore and just spread out and do something crazy once in a while with your work. I remember the first show. I remember when Jackie said, "I think it's time that we do a show with you." And I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, okay, when? And it was about 3 months down the line, and I was like, "Okay, I can do this." So I just got to work, and the show opened, and I think I sold every single piece. I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that something that I created out of myself, someone would actually want. And what I came to realize that I am not creating this out of myself. I'm just listening to what I have to do, and I'm doing it. So that made it a lot easier. But that first show, that was something else, I'll tell you. To me, it was like I had the stars in my eyes, and I was like, "Wow, I've made it." To me, that was making it, because it was more than I ever dreamed would happen. So it was a really special day. Yeah. Well, some of it is just like things that I sketch and I really like, just from nature or something I've observed. But most of it comes right at that moment of in between being awake and dreaming. And yeah, that's the times when I just like I sit right up, and I go right to the sketchbook and I make a quick sketch, or I'll go straight to the canvas and just start painting. That's usually where the images come from. Yeah, so that's why I know it's not me. It's something bigger than me. Sometimes when I'm painting, I'll feel someone just right back here. I think it's my grandfather, but I know it isn't. It's just a being or something of wisdom and love. And sometimes it's almost I can feel the breath on the back of my neck. And it's not scary. It's really, really calming and peaceful. It's a very spiritual experience. And I don't ever really talk about it. Most of the time when people ask me, like, where's your inspiration coming from, or how did you do that? I just kind of brush it off with a joke, or just like, oh yeah, whatever. Because in many ways I just feel that it's not something just to talk about. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that it can't be shared. And I think it should be shared. So I can tell you about one experience I had. I was falling asleep, and I just kind of suddenly I saw myself sleeping on my bed, and I just started floating up, and I wasn't floating. I realized I was being carried up higher and higher, and I saw the land just drop away, and the clouds drop away, and the earth drop away, and the moon drop away. And I realized that this person who's carrying me is whispering something in my ear that I can't understand. But if I listen closely, I can feel a beat. And then under the beat, I kind of hear like singing, like almost like the gurgling of water, but slower, right? And it's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my life. And I realize that I'm listening to the heartbeat of creation. And it lasted forever, and it didn't last long enough, and suddenly I find when I'm coming back to the earth, and suddenly I don't even see it the same anymore. It's like everything is made out of crystal. It's solid, but I can see right through it. And everything is dancing to this rhythm. And I'm coming back to my house, and I feel myself lying back down. And then I just sat up and started to work. That's when I started painting the raven. I've got two series of the raven, the red raven and the white raven. And they represent two completely different aspects of the raven to me. The red, I kind of based it on the West Coast legend of Raven steals the sun and the moon. When he steals the sun and he gets burned black, right? There's that moment before he's black, when it's just burning him. And to me, that's the red raven. And it represents that moment when you know that you've grabbed something that's almost too much for you. And you can feel that you're going to get burned. Yeah, and you can feel it happening. But there's also that sort of euphoria, because it means that you're going to change, and that the whole world is going to change. And that's sort of magic. There's something really magic about the fact that that human beings can change. The black raven is the raven with the clothing on, with the soot. You know, he's got an earthly body now, and it's made out of black. But underneath all that, he's still the white raven. So just like us, we wear our bodies, and, you know, we're touched by the sun. But underneath it, we're white, glowing beings. And not white in skin color, but white is just as in light. That's probably a better way to put it. We're light, glowing beings. It's sort of like that's our connection. That's our conduit back to the world before. I was quite worried about it because to date I'd been doing really serene, calm, paintings that were just nice to look at. And suddenly when the raven stuff started coming along, there was so much energy and strange colors and just sort of like this rough, raw way of applying the paint that I was like, no one's going to accept this. What am I doing? Like, I'm crazy. I'm crazy to do this. Like, I should just do this for myself and not show it to anyone because it's out of hand. That's the way I was thinking. Like, this is getting out of hand. And the people who know me and visit, they like whatever you do, right? They're like, yeah, that's good. But to know if something is actually going to strike people that don't know you so well, like it's going to be the first time they see those ideas coming out, or the first time that they're going to see like this like big jump from what you've been doing to this. I was worried that a lot of people who liked my work or who were supporters were going to say like, you've lost it. What are you doing? Like, why did you do this? You're sabotaging yourself like so many people before you. And that's exactly it. I was like, oh no. But I couldn't stop it. When people think of art, a lot of times they're thinking of the statue of David or something by Leonardo da Vinci or something like that, or Rubens. And that's well and good if that's where your roots are. But if your roots are based in the land and your history is based in this country and who you are is not reflected in what you think of as art, then where do you find your identity in the culture? And so the most important thing I'm doing, I think, is giving a reflection back to the people that they are art and that they're noble and beautiful and there's wisdom and beauty and it's not really that hard to find.